Hello guys, hope all is well. If you can see my screen, please type in yes. If you can see my screen, please type in yes. Just waiting for everyone to turn up. If you can hear me and if you can see my screen, please type in yes. Okay, can anyone hear me? Test, test. Okay, just waiting for people to turn up. Just want to make sure that people can actually hear me. Okay, fantastic. Sohan, hi, hope all is well. Riley, hope all is well. There always seems to be, Benjamin Tan, hope all is well. There always seems to be a delay, quite interesting enough. So when I'm actually communicating to then when everyone can hear it, a little more volume would be nice. Okay, so this is something that we had a slight issue with OBS software yesterday. So can everyone hear me now? Is it better now? Can everyone hear me? I'll put the mic right up to my mouth. Is that fine? Is it clear? Test, test, test. 1, 2, 3. Test, test, test. 1, 2, 3. It's good. Is it better now, Sohan? Okay, great. I've just basically moved. Fine, fantastic. Okay, now I basically spent 2 hours yesterday because I recorded 2 videos, right? And I spent 2 hours yesterday just going through, because obviously the sound was very, very low for some reason with OBS software. So I had to make sure that I tweaked a few things and make sure it was right. So I think it should be better now. Fantastic. So I know in terms of, first and foremost, welcome. Thank you for taking the time out. I know it's quite, I don't know, where is everyone based at the moment? Because here, obviously, it's 9:35 in Europe. I'm based in Vienna, obviously. So it's good to know, where is everyone based at the moment? And also it's a Saturday, so I don't think we're going to get a lot of people on right now. Saturday morning, and obviously in the US, where a lot of our Patreon members are based. It's currently, well, what time is it in the US now? It's probably about 1 a.m., 2 a.m. in the morning, right? So it's quite early. Exactly. It seems to be a 10-second delay with a chat. So that's something I need to take a look at afterwards. Okay, Dave, Japan. Fantastic. Whereabouts in Japan? Love that, with the whole crypto space, there's people all over the world, right? Come together as a family with the one objective is to feed our familia. Yes. Okay, Riley, the UK 8:35. Fantastic. Whereabouts in the UK? Benjamin, Malaysia. Whereabouts in Malaysia? Saturday. Yes, today's Saturday, right? Or am I totally mistaken? Oh, Friday. Sorry, it just shows how time is just flying. I actually thought today was Saturday. Just shows me that I'm just totally out of whack right now with what's going on. So I'm looking forward to the weekend, that's for sure. Just shows me that I'm just totally out of whack. It's weird. I woke up this morning, I just thought it feels like a Saturday. So again, we have people that are working, obviously the time zone situation. So it was just really applicable to the time of when the lead dev X from Gambit protocol was available. So I had to make it conducive, obviously, for the dev. and then hopefully we'll have a few people that trickle in, and then I am recording this, so this will then be I'll then basically publish this live, and then also people can be able to see the transcript. So what I've essentially done is, okay, so Osaka, okay, very nice. I've always wanted to go to Japan, to be honest. I absolutely love the culture and the feel. So Malaysia, great. Benjamin, Riley, Suffolk near Ipswich. Oh, cool. I've never been to Suffolk, actually. Born and raised in London, West London, but never been to Suffolk. Kuala Lumpur, beautiful, beautiful. So what I've basically done is essentially just have this chat running, and then I have this screen up. And then basically here, I've created another screen, which is for the VIP channel. So what would happen is the dev will turn up at about 10 or 5 minutes to 10 Central European time. So basically in 20 minutes or so. And then what would happen is I'm more of an audio person. So I'm actually going to just, communicate by voice, and the dev will basically just answer the questions that I have for whatever, 5 minutes, 10 minutes or so. And then we'll open the floor to the whole community to ask any questions. So please make sure you have a few questions ready, whether it's about anything to do with the project, Gambit protocol, his previous project, XVIX, that, my God, I remember actually buying this specific project on the 1st of December around now, the first day of listing. I remember buying it, and I didn't hold it all the way up. Sometimes in life you look back and just say, damn, and that was a 100x, more than 100x, incredible. So, and I remember having a conversation as well on that same day. I just had to use capital for other means, and I just felt that there's a massive opportunity they had there, but I just had to use capital. So when I look back, I thought, damn, look at that. So I knew for the new project, there's no way I am gonna, I'm holding this long term potentially, because there's a lot of synergies, but this is something we will talk and discuss in 5 to 10 minutes or so. Well, 15 minutes. So just to be able to put this out there, does anyone have any questions, any input so far just regarding the Patreon group? Anything about projects? What positions is everyone in at the moment? Maybe that might be a good question. Let me make sure everything's recording. Yeah, there always seems to be a 10-second delay. I need to take a look at this for the next live stream, because I'm talking, and then it's like 10-15 seconds, and then I'm getting the response. So it's like, it's kind of a weird feeling. So Dave has a question. Go for it. Sohan, isn't it easier to 100x from a 100k market cap? There tends to be a correlation between the lower the liquidity that you have, it's easier to be able to move the price. That's very clear. However, on the other side, if you have a low liquidity, it then means that you're actually you're limiting or restricting the type of investors or people involved in a project. I.e., if you have only a liquidity of, let's say, 50,000, it's a new project, liquidity of 50,000, it's very difficult to get the whales involved, right? They're not going to be attracted by that, because there's no way that they can put a 20 ETH or 20 BNB, whatever it is, buy, because there's no liquidity, so they're totally restricted. So on the other hand, if you have liquidity, it then means there's more opportunities. And I think especially with Gambit protocol and what they're trying to achieve regarding the stablecoin and the generating of interest, it's quite an interesting area. So I think for them, the larger the liquidity, the better. It then really opens the scope to have, 50 ETH, 100 ETH. I'm just saying long term, 50 ETH, 100 ETH buys. Because look at, for example, Walt Finance. They have a huge amount of liquidity now, and you're seeing on a regular basis, not like every second, but you're seeing, you know, 100, 200, 300, $400,000 buys, like one transaction. So it then means that this would not be possible if they had, for example, a 20K liquidity. It would not work. Okay, so Dave, I want to get in on BSC starter presale, but I'm not whitelisted. How do I get whitelisted? So one thing I would definitely recommend you to do, obviously we are the official auditors for their project, and Doxed guy, he's actually connected to someone I know who's well known, pretty well known in the space, and they're really starting to iterate. We are currently auditing their actual platform, their contracts, so it's going swimmingly well at the moment. Hopefully we should have that done within the next day or so, hopefully before the launch. But on Monday is the public, I think it's a pre-sale public, because they've done a seed, and then also they did a private sell, and then now they're moving to a pre-sale / public sell, and then I think a few hours later they're going to do a listing on the Pancake Swap, right? So all happening on the same day. So I would definitely recommend that you basically go and reach out to them and just to really ask more questions, okay? Find out what's going on. Just give me 1 second, please. 1 second. Okay, sorry about that. My puppy, Australian Shepherd Bella, was eating some tissue and stuff, so had to get out of her mouth. Anyway, so just to answer the question, I drew everything yesterday, sitting in cash now. Okay, Harrick, how are you? Hope all is well. So what are you referring to at the moment that you withdrew? Okay, Bill, how are you? Hope all is well. Walt, DDS, Gambit, yes. We are just kicking on from one, project to the next. But this takes due diligence, right? This is something where you have to put your head down and work hard. I remember talking to Creepy, the dev from Walt, like literally a few months ago, had to build the relationship, understand the previous projects he was in, and then understand where he's moving to, and then working to nurture and move. What we don't do, we don't look at just tokenomics as we know and say, okay, fantastic, tokenomics is great, and we're going to enter. No. What I've realized about this space is that you have to offer something unique or that differentiates yourself in order to have this deal flow. And I think this is a comparable to a lot that happens with the venture world, right? So outside in terms of venture capitalists or angel, people that raise capital in the angel round type stage. That is personally my ultimate objective. And this is what I'm trying to move towards, is not looking for like listed companies on the stock exchange, right? So in this scenario on Uniswap or on Binance Smart Chain, I'm looking for projects that are early, like where Uber was, right? I remember a guy called Jason Calacanis. He is the founder of This Week in Startups, and he has a venture fund. Back in 2008, I think 2007, 2008, two individuals came up to him in the US and said to him, listen, we want to democratize, change the way transportation works. And he said, that's going to be very difficult because of, all of the legislations in place for a long time in the US is very hard, and all the unions, it's going to be very, very difficult to break down this, the barrier. But I see that you have huge amount of enthusiasm, you have phenomenal confidence, you have something in terms of an MVP, a product, an MVP that one can test as in terms of an app. So I'm going to invest in you. I'm investing in you and also invest in your project. That makes sense. And he put in like $50,000. I think it was 2007, 2008 times. Fast forward 2021, that company is Uber, right? So he basically converted his $50,000 into, I think, when it was listed, he had like $400 million. Jason Calacanis. Okay, you can type in, find out. So what I'm trying to say is, what type of X is that? That's like a, God knows, is it 10,000X, 20,000X? So it just tells you that there's higher returns the earlier you are in these projects. But there's also higher risks, right? Because it may mean that this project, they don't really even list. And especially in the crypto space, there's rug pulls. They have conflicts of issues with their colleagues, their team members. For whatever reason, they don't move forward. Or for example, they get listed, they dump the tokens. So you really have to have this innate talent and skill set. Can everyone hear me, by the way? Just want to make sure that I'm not rambling on and no one can actually hear me. So one has to have the innate talent and skill set to be able to identify these projects and then move forward. So that's why basically that's the direction that we're really moving into. And that's why we've been fantastic identifying Volt, identifying DDS, identifying Gambit, buried data. Also, can everyone hear me, guys? Also, buried data was very interesting in terms of how far it moved. A lot of people were slightly cautious regarding the project, but I just saw I had that foresight essentially. Great, thanks a lot, Benjamin. So this is what I'm saying, just to answer the question, just in terms of the 100x and the 10x and stuff like that. Then basically the question is here, Sohan says, I see Gambit competing with Sparta with additional use case of interest generating stablecoin. Exactly, Sohan. That was funny because I actually have that as a question. Maybe I'll get you to ask that question to the dev to see who are their competitors in the space, because I asked them who the competitors, but you can obviously raise that point with them, because Sparta has, and maybe it might be good for you to do some quick research. What is Sparta's? Is Sparta listed at the moment? And if they are, what is their current market cap? So a bit of research for you, Sohan. What about CX? I haven't done any research about CX, but I will find out for you, if that's okay. Riley, if Gambit is a stablecoin, what is it tied to? And I take it is not a US stablecoin. So basically here, I think I have here. So you can be able to see here, current stablecoin solutions typically require backing of a centralized fiat reserve or over-collateralization. With Gambit, we present a design for partially backed stablecoin that automatically generates interest. Okay. So you can clearly see the overview. I will add this into the description, so you can be able to go through this in your own time. And these are all interesting questions. Once I open the floor, to please ask the dev, because I honestly don't know if it's a he or she, but non-binary, binary, whatever, but the dev is absolutely amazing. If you talk about technology, absolutely phenomenal. So and also remember, with this project, they've literally started with more or less nothing, right? I don't even think they even raised, or if they did, it was only a small amount. It was basically started bootstrapped. a stealth launch essentially, right? And look at what the dev did, obviously with the team and stuff like that. So just imagine when you propel that and you have a community backing and supporting. I truly believe there's opportunity. Obviously, as I always say, make sure you follow clear risk management. Make sure you don't put all your eggs in one basket. I always say this. This is not financial advice. Do your own research. Very important. I might say something I'm interested in, but it doesn't mean that you're interested in it. I'm basically publicly showing what I'm doing, right? And if people believe in it and are happy, fantastic. But I am not recommending anything. I'm just telling you what I'm doing. And so far, for a long time, it has been working. So let's just see here. Sohan said around 70 million I'm investing in Sparta. Okay, what price did you get in at, Sohan? So 70 million market cap. So you can see there, I think the market cap on listing will be 2.5 for Gambit. So again, and you clearly mentioned, right, and it has the interest generating aspect to it, which I believe Sparta doesn't, right? Then what's the difference between RSR? Good question, Adamus. This is a question for the dev to ask in 5 minutes. We'll be cracking on there shortly. All these questions will be good for him to review. And just to know, it might also be good for you to maybe just pull up RSR and just say, listen, RSR focuses on this specific area. And they have a market cap of this. They've raised this, so on and so forth. And so what is the main uniqueness? Because it's just essentially opening the floor, right? Did I miss any questions so far? Go down, go down. So we've seen people are gradually turning up. I'm happy. I know it's very, well, early, late. I'm not too sure whatever. Well, I know some people in Asia. Got a few in Europe. So let's just see how that goes. So essentially, what else? Any more questions? Get on the BSC pre-sale. Okay, yeah. So BSC start, I explained that. I think with BSC, they're really trying to build something really interesting. I actually spoke to the individual that was doxed, or I did the KYC. They're really coming out with some interesting announcements very soon. I can't say anything, but if they pull this off, it would be a game changer. That's all I'm going to say. If they pull this off, it will be a game changer. So, and with Gambit, I truly believe that they have a community that's growing. I remember going on a Gambit, I think Telegram earlier on, a few days ago, before the sale actually started. They only had like 60 members or so. So I really thank our community, because we kind of like, we drove a lot of interest to really build up the momentum. So without you, without the community, nothing's possible. So that's the reason why where we are today, because we look for these projects and we try and find ways how we can really provide this added value that would help them in terms of growth, where it's from the investment aspect, capital, fundraise, where it's from, so obviously allocation, where it's from the marketing aspect, where it's from AMA. So all these different types of scenarios we're essentially looking at. Okay, so Sohan asked, I got in a bit high around $1.50, probably close to 100 million will be okay to bring the evidence. Okay, so what was the reason why you decided to get in that trade, and when did you, just out of interest? And let's even pull up, it's called Sparta, right? Let's pull this up. Sparta Finance, is that right? No, can't be this one, because liquidity is more or less nothing. Maybe you can put down the DEX, send me the DEX link, DEX Tools link if possible. So I can just pull up. Again, this is a big issue with Uniswap. When you type in a specific, whatever, project name, ticker symbol, you come up with so many different, and there's a lot of issues and scams with, as I said before, a lot, via Twitter and stuff like that, with same listing with a project, a legit project, and it really complicates things and really confuses for especially a new investor. So that's the reason why we're actually building something right now that would help investors. Like, look at this, for example, has Sparta, right? And it has there no liquidity. That'll help investors to identify the right specific token contract, which is then connected to the official Telegram, the official Twitter, and so on and so forth. So Sohan said, I compared Sparta to Synthetic. Exactly. Synthetic is also another project that's similar to in terms of competitor, and saw that there's plenty of room to grow, so decided to buy it for long-term hold. Okay. Sparta's on BSC. Okay, good. Thank you. Thank you. Because I didn't really know too much about Sparta, so it's good to know. So for them to even have a market cap on Binance Smart Chain around, what, 70 million? Astonishing. When did they actually list, by the way? And that's another thing with Binance Smart Chain. It's currently like the Wild Wild West at the moment. So where there are not really charting application options. And this is something that they need to basically work on. So I'm just moving over just to make sure that the dev is on. What I basically did is I sent the dev the link to the live stream, and then also so can basically hear me. So when I speak, obviously the audio aspect, and then we'll answer the questions in the Telegram. So what we're going to do with the Telegram, I will be asking a few questions for whatever, 5 minutes or so, 5-10 minutes max, and then after that the floor will be open. Okay, so if that's okay, I'm not going to mute the chat, guys, because there's not a lot of people anyway. But just please, for the first 5 or 10 minutes, don't ask any questions. Let me just go through with everything, and then the floor will be open for you to ask as many questions as possible. We're going to be going for about 20 to 30 minutes max, because as you can imagine, they're currently going through the fundraising round, so there's a lot going on currently. So let me just check to see if the dev is on. Does anyone have any more questions? Need a DEX Tools, exactly. I think there's a few people I know that's actually working on like a DEX Tools for BSC, like a DEX Tools slash Astro Tools slash ChartX. So let's just see here. Okay, let me just contact the dev. What other projects are people involved in at the moment, just out of interest, or invested in? And how is it weighted? Is it weighted more BSC projects compared to Uniswap, or vice versa? Okay, the dev is basically coming on shortly. To literally just linking in now. So let me just move this across here. Can everyone see my screen? Can everyone see my screen? Okay, Benjamin says BSC projects 90%, ETH project. Interesting. Is that, what was it before, like prior to this whole new trend of BSC projects? Was it 50-50 or? Oh, X. Hi, X. So we've got Fifi. Fifi. You typed in Fifi. So I call you X or Fifi? X, welcome on board. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. So basically, just to let you know, this is the, I basically connected the VIP Patreon group of like investor club that we have here, but obviously we're live streaming it out also to the public. So we're really changing the way these, you know, the fashion that AMA works at the moment. Okay, just providing our own little spin to it. So X, I sent you the, obviously you've got the live stream you're in, and also the link for Telegram. So it's up to you actually. Maybe if you want to communicate via, what would be easier? Maybe you even just communicate via here. Yeah, maybe if you just communicate via the live stream, I think that'd be absolutely fantastic. Just to make it as easy, I guess. So thank you very much. Same like Benjamin was here. Thank you very much. So for taking the time out, X. So my first question is, so we're just going to go for, I have a question for about 5 minutes or so, 5-10 minutes. And basically, then after that, I'm going to open the floor to the rest of the group to be able to ask any questions. So my first question is really, is that I remember vividly, and I was telling the group earlier, I remember vividly when I actually identified your initial project, XVIX, and I actually got involved on the first day of the listing. And it was literally about half an hour to when it listed. And then I found out more about what you're doing, obviously before that. And then I actually communicated with you once or twice. I don't think I actually told you about this before, once or twice. But I then actually sold out because I had to use capital for other means. And just imagine that it's literally done in 100x, which has absolutely been phenomenal. Did you actually expect for this project initially to get to this level? So that's my first question. Because essentially you started this with more stealth, right? It was more of a lean launch. You didn't raise, you raised little to no capital. Is that correct? Okay, fantastic. So basically, you were just saying that you raised 60K, and obviously that's more or less nothing. And then there was an initial pump to $3. This is for people that are not reading. And then a drop to $1. Yes, I remember that vividly. And wasn't sure actually how things will move forward. And then you didn't expect to get to $100 so early, right? That's what you're saying. And 10 would have been amazing then already, right? Yeah, because 10 would have literally been more than a 10x, right? Because the pre-sale price was, what was it, 30 cents, 50 cents or something? $0.30. Wow. Incredible. No problem, Fifi. I'm happy. I want to make sure everything's conducive. So thanks for the details. So in terms of where has your creative juices come from in terms of Gambit? Because obviously you seem to have this creative aspect to your mindset, but also you have this analytical and clearly, phenomenal coding skills. So where did this idea come about in terms of, the stable coin and generating interest and then the connection? So please let us know. This function, basically, we're just doing an AMA right now, so I'll answer all your questions afterwards, okay? And this is related to Gambit protocol. So X is basically saying, I've seen a lot of protocols and their models due to being in a space for a while and, trying to do something new. Okay, this function, please. We're just doing an AMA, so we can have this conversation afterwards. Thank you. If not, I would have to basically take you off. Yes, please continue, X. Okay, and then X basically said that that was your first leverage platform and you're inspired by Andre. So Andre Cronio, who is essentially the dev main guy that runs YFI, yes, Iron Finance. And X basically said constantly talks about capital efficiency. So we're really just asking X questions in terms of where the idea has come about. And it got you thinking that direction. No, totally agree with you. I think this is the reason why Andre has built this phenomenal ecosystem, but it seems to be all organic, right? He's had a clear long-term vision, but then said, okay, how can I from grassroots and bottom up start building something? And rather than maybe building everything from scratch, are there existing models, protocols that he can have some form of like a partnership, some synergy or merge? And hence the reason why he's been onboarding all of these different like cover protocol and all these interesting projects. Okay, no, thanks for the details there, X. So just a quick one. What is your ultimate vision of Gambit protocol before I open the floor to the community? So X basically said, I like to see Gambit taken an equal stage with much larger projects. I agree. I think we're seeing a lot of projects that are being listed, but it just feels that they have a short-term mindset in terms of, i.e., if it's like yield or whatever. I want to get as much money in total value lot as possible, but without a long-term vision, kind of like an ecosystem to build. And I think what you're trying to do is basically have that mindset of, we want to get to be of a standing of a, let's say, a blue chip, or a blue chip type. So we're talking about the big guns of the world, on CoinGecko, as you can be able to see, the top 5, top 10 in terms of market cap. and really providing value regarding, as you said, stablecoins, leverage, asset swapping. So essentially you want to have your own unique model, but with a similar direction to what Andre has done, essentially, yes? But with your own path that you want to take. I think it's very smart. And then you basically add and complement with your previous project and maybe other projects, and you start building something extremely strong. Is that fair to say? Capital efficiency, I do not think it has uniqueness, and it will help to bring it forward. Yep, I agree. No, fantastic. Thank you very much, X. I'm going to put this on the floor to everyone. There were some questions before. So if I go back, Sohan asked a question. Sohan, if it's okay, I'll just basically ask the same question you asked before. Is that Sohan says that he sees Gambit competing with Sparta with additional use case of interest generating stablecoin. Is it fair to say that Sparta would be like a competitor and then synthetic would also be like a competitor, or that type of mode, would you say? And would your use case uniqueness be the interest aspect? Oh, you do think? Okay, I thought so. So good question, Sohan. And you said that, but you view each as having their own strengths and coexisting. Okay, so there isn't a case where you have the actual same features and really trying to achieve the same thing long term. There could be a way where it's not like a monopoly type scenario. It's not even a duopoly, right? It could be a case where there'll be 3 to 5 very, very strong projects that could actually maybe coexist or even work hand in hand potentially, right? So very good idea. There was a question from, if I go back up, there was a question regarding your website. Basically said, I hope the website will be worked on further. Somehow website quality tends to be a big metric for new buyers. Personally, I prefer focusing on the use case. So the question is obviously about the website. That's the next question. And you mentioned For example, with synthetic, you need to over-collateralize assets by 10x, I believe. Okay, yes. Okay, cool. So that's one aspect that you have that's additionally unique as well. So basically, X's answer in terms of the website question would be yes, the website definitely needs to be improved, but the priority will be on the beta. So the beta launch is coming out shortly in April. No, I totally agree. You know, normally we have, and then you said, I think having a functional beta will be much larger selling point than a nicer website. I agree with that. And we also have, I'm sure you've seen this, X, but we actually have a checklist. So we have like a free checklist, but we also have a VIP checklist for my investor group. And this VIP checklist, we basically have a breakdown of what you need to look at and follow before you decide to be interested in any project. So one of the important areas is product, right? So either having a product that's on testnet, on the mainnet, that's live, that's generating revenues, extremely important. Obviously, in your case, you're working towards that, and I truly believe you will have it. And the reason why my belief is because of what you've already done, number one, and also in terms of just the growth of the iteration that you did with little to no capital. So just imagine, and the success that you've had with your previous project. So just imagine when you're equipped with funds, with resources, and having a stronger team, how you can be able to take this to another level. So that's just my viewpoint. Any more questions, guys? Because ladies and gentlemen, because obviously we are basically nearly at 10:30 CET time, so I agreed that we're only going to do up to about 10:30 because the dev's got a lot going, as you can imagine. So I think if there isn't any more questions, or we'll just leave it for one more. If there's one more question, please send it now. And then X basically answered for XVIX. We've made a lot of new connections. Yeah, I've definitely seen that growth personally. People who can help us out, get things done faster. I agree. This is something that you would not be able to do as a standalone, you know, a one-person band. So this is something that's really, really important. So just keep going. Just give me a second, guys. Okay, Riley has asked the question, if Gambit is a stablecoin, what price will it stabilize at? X reply for Gambit. There are 2 tokens, the government token, GMT, and the stablecoin. So as you can see here from this document, you can be able to find out more about this later on after the AMA. And then X basically said the Gambit Gov token will manage the allocation of fees. The GUSD will stabilize at $1. Very interesting model. And Riley says, so it's similar to RSR. And X basically says, yeah, similar 2 token model. And okay, so we'll have a last question here from Dysfunction. What would be the ETH equivalent of Gambit protocol? Okay, so we've got more questions coming in. Guys, we'll just do 2 more, just 1 to 2 more max, and we're done. Okay, so just the last from Dysfunction and Benjamin, and we're done. Hello, Kyan. We're doing an AMA at the moment, so I'll answer those questions afterwards, okay? It's funny now that we're about to end the chat and now everyone's flowing. What happened? People started drinking coffee all of a sudden? Okay, so X basically answered the question from Dysfunctionalism. I think it would be a cross of MKR and SNX. And then X answered Benjamin's question regarding is Gambit an algorithmic stablecoin on steroids, and X basically says it's not an algorithmic per se since there is no rebasing, just that it can be minted at a 1-to-1 ratio with assets. Dysfunction said, yeah, I know. I basically said 20 seconds delay on the chat, Ken. I know there's an issue with the delay, but after this question, just I think okay, so basically just answer the question and then I think we're done with, so no more questions. If X has anything else to say, then please let me know. We really appreciate the time you've taken. I know there's a lot going on, so thank you. We are supporting your project. We are, you know, I'm supporting it. I believe majority of the people within the group, our family, let's say, of the community is really behind it. Basically, X says, answering Riley's question, no locking on the presale tokens, but we think it's okay. The presale price is very close to listing price, $4.50 and $5. Okay. Okay, thank you, X, for the time. Really appreciate it. And we all look forward to the next steps. And yeah, guys, just get ready. If you have any questions, please go to their Telegram group on their website. I've also added in the Patreon group all the information you need in terms of the Medium article, everything you require in the description. And then we'll crack on. So thanks for the time, guys. And we'll be out. Thank you very much, X, for your time. Thank you. Bye-bye.